Welcome to this week's episode of the Last Best Beer Show. This is Ryan Newhouse, your host for all things good craft beer related, and it's a pleasure to be back with you this week to talk about my favorite thing, craft beer. We've got great guests. We've got cool people in the studio with me. We've got a lot to talk about. First, I want to welcome on Rad Eisnagel. Rad, how are you, man?
Really good. How are you doing?
It's good to have you back in here, and you're going to join me today. We're going to talk about our favorite thing, right? Craft beer?
Well, that's our number one favorite thing.
Yes, that and maybe some food and all that good stuff. But,
oh, yeah.
Have you done anything exciting, any good beers in the last week or so that are notable? That
You know what? To tell you the honest truth, I've gone a whole week of just duds. Nothing spectacular.
That's all right.
You know, you live and learn when you're a variety junkie.
You know, I have this crazy saying, and not everybody gets it, but I said the more beer that I drink, the less I actually like. And what I mean by that is I'll have a greater number of experiences, but then I realize that I keep coming back to these fewer beers. So like in comparison, I may have had now 1,000 beers, but I still just really like 1 or 2 or 4 or 50. And so comparatively, it's less I like the more I drink. So, you know, there's some good ones out there, though.
Well, it's like Scotch Silly. I've had that beer a dozen times.
Yep.
And I keep going back to it, and I enjoy it.
I like it. There's some good ones. I think I saw Barrel-Aged Ivan is out there in the world.
I had a Barrel-Aged Ivan 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
It was super good.
Yep.
Trying to think of something new that I had. The Monk Stout from DuPont Brasserie.
Oh, where'd you find that?
That was at Summer Sun. Okay.
Yep. Summer Sun's got a great selection of good beer always, as does Warden's. And I've tried the new beers over at Imagination Brewing. They've got a couple new ones on tap. I think a Robust Porter and a Red. And their Beyond Beer campaign is still up, I believe, on the walls. You should go check that out. A really cool collection of photographs and stories about how beer is much bigger than just a tasty beverage.
The Imagination always does a good job of expanding what beer can mean to a community, and
that's true.
Value.
Speaking of expanding horizons and expanding beer, we got to bring in our first guest here who made the long, treacherous journey from Bozeman, Montana. Is that correct?
Yep, you bet.
All right. I'm introducing Ryan Rickert, who is the founder of, if that's correct, of Pint Pass.
Yep.
So why don't you tell me what Pint Pass is?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Pint Pass is basically 3 main things. It's discover and explore craft beer, see what's on tap, find new breweries.
Okay.
When that portion of us is similar-ish to Tap Hunter or Untapped and a couple different like Beer Mapper and a handful of those. Mm-hmm. What's unique to us is number 2 and number 3. Number 2 is a $25 annual subscription or $3 a month subscription. What that does is gets you free food at a handful of select restaurants that really focus on craft beer. It also gives you a daily discount at breweries that are within our network. So we just hit our 50th brewery.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited about it. We actually are working on 500 breweries and mainly focused on the Rocky Mountain and West Coast, which has been cool for us. And the way it kind of works is, friends like you guys will say, hey, check out this brewery, and we'll contact them because we don't charge breweries. All we do is ask that when we send a Pint Pass member through the door, they honor the small daily discount, which would be 50 cents off their first pint and or $1 off your first growler. The third thing, and kind of how we got a bit of national attention, was we have a provisional patent on we call TAB, which is text to beer. Oh. And text to beer means that I can, from my Pint Pass app, I can send members and non-members alike through text or email a beer. So it kind of came from me wanting to celebrate with friends that went to, lived here in Montana and have now live elsewhere. To be able to, it debits my card, it sends them a value text, they take it to a brewery, and there's a kill code, and then Pint Pass pays that brewery. Every 2 weeks in arrears is how it works. So that was kind of what got us a bit of attention. But it's been a blast because I'm passionate about craft beer, and living in Bozeman, it's been really cool to have a startup there. But to be able to support and pour into the craft beer community and being a part of it is like, I'm on cloud 9, just doing what we're doing in Bozeman, but also to be around craft beer. It's been fun.
There's so many good people in that craft beer world, and that's what I love about this and doing this type of stuff and doing events is meeting cool people. But
no
so
doubt.
you have an app that people can download for iPhone or for iOS and Android?
Yep.
Or?
So it's for both, and the app itself is free. So to be able to see breweries, to see what's on tap right now, That's all totally free. So the app portion is free. If you want the daily discounts, or like I'll use Dave Sushi and Bozeman because they pioneered it. They actually wanted to be on the app. They love craft beer. And they said, how about if you send a Pint Pass member through our door and they drink 2 local pints, Monday through Sunday, lunch or dinner, the only restriction once a day, we'll give an appetizer up to $9.
Wow.
And then Mackenzie River said, that's great. Why don't we do a lodgepole, I think it's lodgepole pesto bread or whatever, if you come buy 2 local beers. So what's cool about that is it forces people to not buy not picking on them, but the Sapporo and the Bud Lights and all that stuff from Dave's or Mackenzie, and just buy Montana beers. And that's been killer because then the restaurants know people will drink a couple beers and typically stay for a meal. And even if they don't, it's still a win for them because they love having those types of people in. It's been pretty cool.
Well, pardon the pun, but you're tapping into a core audience of craft beer lovers. So they're pretty much going to be choosing that type of beer anyway.
Sure.
But now you've got a little bit of extra emphasis on there, or you're dangling the carrot in front of them to be like, hey, this restaurant that you're at also loves craft beer, and this is the way that they're showing it. So it seems like a win-win.
You're totally right. So that, and what our focus for the restaurants have been, like we just came from Iron Horse having a conversation with them. They're not on the app yet, but we're hoping to put them on there. So we're just focused on the not so big chains, like not the Applebee's and Famous Dave's, not picking on them. But we love the local folks and also people that are part of that craft beer community and truly care. Right? Like we're not aggregating 2-for-1 gin and tonics and body shots and wet t-shirt contests. Like that's not our style, right? Like we love just the craft beer, and that's the only area that we're focused on.
Awesome. Good. So you're around Montana, you're growing your network. You are in some other states though. Why don't you go through those where you're at? What's your network right now? Yeah. So we, it's kind of funny because we launched the app last year and, through a series of events. So we put it on the App Store. Day 2, we get a call from a group, representing Microsoft, 3 former and 3 current execs. And they flew out the next day, and it taught us a ton. They offered to do a deal with us. It didn't make sense. We ended up, so through that, we found a bunch of issues isn't the right word, but as far as scalability to do outside the state, we realized that we had built a house on a 3,000 square foot lot that we couldn't make a 7-bedroom, so to speak. And so we scrapped that app. And so through that, we originally started focusing on Colorado, Montana, or it was Montana, and then Colorado and Oregon. Last week, so we in November, we relaunched the app. 2 weeks ago, we launched Tab, 3 weeks ago. We launched that text to beer. And then from that, we have to navigate each individual state's laws when it comes to being able to text a beer, like overstate, because we're not selling alcohol, but it's basically a voucher to be redeemed for a beer, right? So last week, we got invited out for our launch of California to start signing up California breweries. We got invited out by Anchor, and which was killer. And it's such a cool, 100-year-old brewery that truly cares. They're independent and they're big brewery, but they were like hooking us up with 21st Amendment and Bartlett Hall and all these cool breweries. And speaking of crazy beers, you guys were talking about earlier, trying new stuff. There's a brewery out there called Bartlett Hall that has it's called Cream Pop IPA. It's basically a creamsicle IPA, which at first I didn't think would be very good. And it was, I'd never seen that. So it tastes like does it taste like a creamsicle?
It tastes it tastes like a creamsicle, but it's like a hoppy IPA. It was super good.
That would be like my inner child meeting the grown-up adult 21-year-old.
Totally.
That's what I was chasing the ice cream truck down the road for. Is like some push pop or creamsicle or something like that.
Oh, it was awesome. So back to your question, Montana, majority of our breweries are in Montana. It's where we focus. It's where we live. It's where we love to be. We added Oregon. We're pushing on Oregon, Colorado, and California. And then I'm from South Dakota originally, so I have a friend that has 2 breweries over there, so we put them on there. So just by friendship, we have 2 breweries over there. And then Louisiana. So we put a couple breweries in New Orleans because we've got some connections down there. And that's how it's worked. Mainly, like I said earlier, it's just like friends will say, dude, check this place out. They are legit. Their beer's good. They care about beer. Or they have great sushi or whatever. Like we were just talking about Neptune's. And it's just been even a lukewarm connection like that. And then once we call them and remind them, we don't charge you. And you can, to be part of this, like we're just going to incentivize people to go through your door. That works out really well. That's
amazing. Your story of scalability reminded me a little bit of the Montana Brewery Passport, which is a project of mine that, I would print and update as new breweries. But even between these last few months, between updates, like I had put in spots where you could write your own future brewery. But even at that, I did not have enough space to accommodate what all breweries were opening just like overnight, literally.
Crazy.
And so now I had people that are like, I don't have enough room in my passport to get out there and fill it up. But it's kind of fun to see, though. I mean, you're happy for all these communities to have their own craft brewery around the neighborhood.
For sure. It's so cool seeing, a lot of stories of home brewers turn. It's like literally witnessing a dream come true, right? For them to go from their garage or whatever space they're brewing into something like that, or just the right connections. Like we're friends with Map, and those guys saying, hey, we all played hockey together, and then this is what happened. It's just cool seeing those stories.
Yep.
And on the passport, we're pumped. It's really cool to have that, because we're both pushing people through to incentivizing people to support the craft beer community.
Yep.
And I'm so pumped to see what we can do between mixing the physical and digital world, right? To be able to say, like, go here, check this out. And because you're supporting these guys and these restaurants, whatever, you get these discounts. And while you're at it, text your buddy a beer who's in a different town than you, and
no doubt.
go drink there too. It's really cool.
So Rad, you and I are both now Pint Pass members, or will be.
Will be very shortly.
So I have a challenge for you. I want you to do product test their text a beer. Text me a beer every day for the next week, and I'll let you know next week.
Let you know how it worked out?
Yes. So it'll be a little bit of product test. So I'll expect that to come through.
That will happen.
All right.
Kind of.
Cool. Very good. Anything else on the forefront? I mean, you're obviously just dove in, and you're getting breweries and getting great restaurants and making people happy.
Yeah. Really for us in Montana, we're planning our roots as deep as possible in Bozeman. It's really in Montana in general, because we love going all around the state, and we kind of have a bit of a house divided, as people like to say, between Missoula and Bozeman with my wife. And but it's all like we're just all pro Montana. I'm pro small business in Montana, which is most of the craft breweries, or all the craft breweries pretty much. It's all about supporting Montana. So what's been cool for us is to also take this and the attention and potential revenue that we gain from out of state to pour into cool stuff. So I had a conversation with Matt Leo a couple weeks ago about sponsoring, like, henceforth all brewery events, right?
Yeah.
And trying to do stuff like that and pouring into craft beer. I was talking to Jesse Bustard yesterday about doing a beer week in Montana, or in Bozeman, and supporting that. It's really cool to be able to do that, and also try to find some good, cool ways to pour into the community. Like, we've been doing kind of like a guys' night at the breweries, where it's more meant for guys that are kind of struggling. And so not necessarily struggling with alcohol. Obviously, that's not a great place to go to do it, but it's more around like struggling in their marriage, struggling in work. And we've tried to create this pretty safe community, but that's what it's about, right? It's about community, and all of us linking arms and being able to tell beer stories, but also caring and being small business in pro Montana. So it's a real privilege to be part of what we're doing, and so stoked to do it.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best.
Thanks.
And super happy that you made it over here, and that we could talk about this fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Good deal. Check it out. Pint Pass. I think the web address is pintpass.com. I think you all are on Facebook. And check out the app. I downloaded it my iOS, and it's really cool to see. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with a lot more.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.
Welcome back to the Last Best Beer Show. We always love giving a shout out to our own sponsors of the show, and definitely next time you're in any of those businesses, give them an applause. It's all right to be a little weird, but applaud them for supporting the Last Best Beer Show. Really appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without them. All right, I am joined this week by a new business venture that I learned about that is over in Bozeman, Montana, and it is called Tour de Foam, and it is a beer tourism business. And I'm joined on the phone this week by Tanner Burgard, who is the co-founder and general manager of Tour de Foam. Tanner, welcome to the Last Best Beer Show.
Well, thanks for having me. I sure appreciate being here.
Well, how is the beer scene, generally speaking? How's the beer scene in Bozeman? I don't make it there enough.
The beer scene in Bozeman is explosive, if I could describe it in a word. We've got
beautiful,
so many breweries producing such amazing craft beer here that it's almost a no-brainer that you got to be involved somehow.
Excellent. Very good. So were you watching the scene and then decided, let's do this cool business? Or I guess, why don't you first tell us about Tour de Foam? Tell us what you do.
Well, Tour de Foam provides professionally guided and chauffeured tasting tours of the craft breweries here in Bozeman and Big Sky and Livingston, Montana.
Okay.
So we are licensed to operate in those 3 cities, and we do fully immersed tasting tours of all of our craft breweries around those areas.
Great. So fully immersed. Elaborate on that for us.
That means that our beer guides are experts on the brewery, the beer, the culture, the brewing scene here in Southwest Montana, and we can answer any questions that you have, and we are poised, in our opinion, to direct you to the best craft brewing experience in this area.
Outstanding. Very fun. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How'd you come up with the idea then? Now that we know what you're doing, where was that aha moment?
Well, we were sitting around and enjoying a few craft beers ourselves, and we thought there's got to be a better way for us to get out and experience these, especially for when we have friends in town and different people that aren't necessarily as informed about Southwest Montana's craft beer as we are.
Okay.
So we started looking at fun activities that people can do around craft beer, like the bike tours and stuff like that. And we thought that would be a really fun option in a city like Bozeman that doesn't currently have anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to get creative and figure out how we could make it work year-round to make it a viable business, and all of those different little nuances that made it work here in Bozeman.
Yeah. So I assume you have business partners, you're a co-founder, you're saying we. How many other people are involved with Tour de Foam?
Just one other person. My father, Chris, is
Okay.
our co-founder, and then we have a board of advisors, which is a group of gentlemen that are some just successful, influential business people around town, and they are lovers of craft beer, and they're on board with us as a board that is more fun for them, but very informative and beneficial for me as general manager here.
Certainly. I got on your Facebook and website and saw a pretty slick looking ride that you have, your van. Is that one of those?
Absolutely, yeah. We currently run 2015 Ford Transit Connects. It's like a little kind of Euro-styled Ford commercial passenger transport vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those nuances that we said we've got to do it this way to make it work in Bozeman so we can run year-round.
Yep.
And it's very comfortable, super easy to get in and out of. There's been nothing but rave reviews about that little vehicle. We call it the Brew Van.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our Brew Van license plates on there, and that's the tour bus.
Excellent. Excellent. What size groups can you handle?
We take right now up to 6 people total.
Okay. And I noticed that you had lots of options. You have different price points and then different types of tours. Why don't you highlight a couple that are maybe the more popular choices or might be?
Absolutely. Our 2 most popular packages are what we call our pint package and our growler package.
Mm-hmm.
And our pint package is a 3-hour, 3-brewery tasting tour where each patron will receive pickup and drop-off at their location choice,
Mm-hmm.
brew van, obviously. And then each patron also gets a growler, Tour de Foam custom logo growler that they can fill at their favorite stop. They get the growler for free as part of the tour. They get our tasting journal,
Mm-hmm.
which is a book we've put together full of all sorts of information about our local breweries, craft beer in general. It's basically just like a 101 course in Southwest Montana's craft brewing scene.
Cool.
And then our patrons are also privy to the perks and discounts that our partner breweries provide for them. So,
Yeah, I like that.
406 Brewing here in town gives every Tour de Foam table a plate of their big nachos for free.
Awesome. Yeah.
And Outlaw Brewing here, you get a pint glass, Outlaw logoed pint glass, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So at every brewery, you'll get some sort of perk or discount or whatever to put in the swag bag along the way.
Beautiful, really, and that shows the connectedness between you and in that brew culture, and that you, it's really fun because all these brewers are very approachable. They're nice guys too. I've met all of them.
Every one of them. They're all great people, and they're all very supportive of us and what we're doing, and we try very hard to support them. And it's just a great culture. It's a great sort of business environment to be in, to operate in.
Yep.
It's been wonderful so far.
Great. You got started in December, as if I remember correctly. And,
That's right. Very new.
So this will be your first sort of summer tour season and spring and fall. I mean, are you going out doing any events, or are there any special things that listeners might want to know about?
Well, we are working on a host of special events for the upcoming spring and summer seasons here. Okay. And those are going to be things above and beyond our standard pint package and growler package tours. And those are things like when a brewery has a special event or a special concert, or there's something like that going on, we will be integrating those with different little packages that we're going to put together and sort of create little events of our own. And it's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to be just slightly different. They're going to be tour de foam packages that include, maybe a couple of other activities. Maybe tickets to a local concert are included, and something like that. Or there's a half-day fly fishing guided trip that gets rolled in during a festival like that or something. So we're working on all sorts of different ways to be creative and expose visitors to this area, to the great craft beer that's being brewed here.
Well done. Well, tell people how they can get a hold of you, how they can figure it out. You
can find us most easily on the web at www.tourdefoam.com.
Okay.
Or you can get a hold of us. Just give us a call right here in our office at 581-7700.
Excellent. Great. Tanner, thank you so much. It sounds exciting. And I will. You'll be the first person I call when I'm heading over to Bozeman.
Well, thanks so much. We'll look forward to seeing you.
All right. And good luck, and we'll keep checking back in with you.
Thank you. Good luck to you as well.
Thank you. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Last Best Beer Show. It is brought to you by Newstalk KGVO on Friday nights, 10 o'clock, and Saturdays at 7. I always like chatting with you on one of those days. So we have our next Save the Date here for Business and Brews. It's going to be happening on Monday, June 13th at our good friends Zach and Sarah Millar's Dram Shop. That'll be in the evening. We generally start about 5:30. We've got a very cool outdoor recreation theme, talking about how beer and how having fun outside actually work together, or at least complement each other. So stay tuned for that. We'll be on our Facebook page and events, and you'll be hearing commercials about it everywhere. But until next week, Missoula, I say cheers.
Love craft beer and want to learn how to brew your own? Take this online course to get insider tips from Montana brewers and top secret recipes for local favorites.